should be so very much acknowledged, that we are so humbled by the outpouring of tributes we have received for this event. There is something very deeply powerful about mourning, about remembering, about commemorating in community. It cannot replace the healing process that is done through our individual grieving, but it certainly can provide additional richness and possibility for comfort and meaning to be with those who have walked a similar path, even if that togetherness is virtual. And since our last Remembering Our Pets event was in 2022, we have so many beautiful pets to share with you all today. With that in mind, I will strive to keep this beginning part brief in order to allow us to fully participate with the pet tributes we have received. I want to share a few pieces of housekeeping information before we get started. I expect this presentation to last around an hour, so please feel free to tune in to some or all of it live or catch it later on replay, which we will have posted on our Facebook page as well as on our YouTube channel. Regardless of when you watch, I recommend finding a comfortable place to sit, a furry companion to snuggle if available, and to keep a box of tissues close by. If you contributed a pet tribute this weekend, please know that if we were unable to include it in this presentation, we will be sure to share it in this week through our social media. Longer tributes will also be shared in full on our social media if we were only able to include a shorter section of them on this special day. Part of what makes an event like this so special is the fact that we are all sharing in this process together as a community. I have a few suggestions on how to participate in this process more interactively if that feels right to you. Those watching live on Zoom, there is a chat section that you are welcome to utilize to share your reactions and thoughts as the tributes come through. If you are viewing through Facebook or our YouTube channel, feel free to send your reactions and comments either live or at a later time. This is a simple way to show support and love for one another as we honor those pets we have lost when we're not together in person. I'll just take a few more moments of your time and attention to point to the amazing people who have made this event possible. First, thank you to you, all of you. Commemorating a loss in this way can be beautiful, but it can also be painful as it solidifies the reality of a loss we have experienced. I want to make sure that I point out how powerful all these tributes are and how much they personally impact myself and I'm sure many others who witnessed them. Second, I want to thank our team here at Journey's Home, including Dr. Christine Nelson Baker, my fellow practice owner. In a time where our attention is pulled in so many different directions, we have been able to come together, share this space, and be there for so many pet lovers. And finally, a thank you to our website coordinator, Katie Truman, and our practice manager, Jess. They have taken all your photos and words and videos and pieced them together into an incredible presentation that we will be witnessing today. And she has also helped allow our website be as beautiful and comprehensive as possible. Little things can make a big difference when navigating the loss of a loved one. In past years, I have utilized the help of beautiful words from the poet David White. In reflecting, I couldn't help but realize that once again, he has provided the perfect canvas for us to talk about the complicated process of loving and losing a pet. We've talked about the power of vulnerability in saying goodbye. We've talked about the courage involved in letting go. And we've talked about the exquisite heartbreak inherent in parting ways with a soul we've walked with through life. All of these talks can be found on our YouTube page at the beginning of these presentations if you want to feel into these topics more deeply. Today, we will touch on solace as a means of making sense and making meaning of our experiences. Solace is the art of asking the beautiful question of ourselves, of our world, or of one another, often in fiercely difficult and unbeautiful moments. Solace is what we must look for when the mind cannot bear the pain, the loss, or the suffering that eventually touches every life and every endeavor. When longing does not come to fruition in a form we can recognize. When people and animals, of course, animals we know and love disappear. When hope must take a different form than the one we have shaped for it. When life does not in any way add up, we must turn to the part of us that has never wanted a life of simple calculation. Solace is found in allowing the body's innate foundational wisdom to come to the fore. A part of us that already knows it is mortal and must take its leave like everything else, and leads us when the mind cannot bear what it is seeing or hearing, to the bird song in the tree above our heads, even as we are being told of a death, each note an essence of mourning and of mourning, of the current of a life moving on, but somehow also, and most beautifully, carrying, burying, and even celebrating the life we have just lost, a life we could not see or appreciate until it was taken from us. To be consoled is to be invited onto the terrible ground of beauty upon which our inevitable disappearance stands, to a voice that does not soothe falsely, but touches the epicenter of our pain, or articulates the essence of our loss, and then emancipates us into the privilege of both life and death as an equal birthright. Solace is not an evasion, nor a cure for our suffering, nor a made-up state of mind. Solace is a direct seeing and participation, a celebration of the beautiful coming and going, appearance and disappearance, of which we have always been a part. Solace is not meant to be an answer, but an invitation through the door of pain and difficulty to the depth of suffering and simultaneous beauty in the world that the strategic mind by itself cannot grasp nor make sense of. Standing in loss but not overwhelmed by it, we become useful and generous and compassionate and even more amusing companions for others. But solace also asks us very direct and forceful questions. First, how will you bear the inevitable loss that will accompany you? And how will you endure it through the years? And above all, how will you shape a life equal to and as beautiful and as astonishing as a world that can birth you, bring you into the light, and then just as you are beginning to understand it, take you away? This concept of solace, of comfort during a time of distress, has become more salient than ever in my life. I lost my beautiful golden retriever, Cricket, the one you have seen on the postcards and on our website, just about a year ago. She, like so many of your beautiful pets you have lost, was a constant companion to me for the previous 8 years that we shared. And her loss continues to reverberate and echo into every facet of my life. There was certainly an incredible amount of darkness, sadness, and pain, but at the same time, it continued to be matched by a nearly unfathomable amount of love and gratitude for the time and the moments that we did share. Holding those two opposites, as impossible as it seemed, provided an opportunity to grow in love and develop a depth of compassion for myself and for others that I am now truly starting to understand only the very edges of. And so with that in mind, I will now allow us to transition over to the beautiful tributes we have this year and let them speak for themselves. Thank you. Hello everyone, and welcome to our 4th virtual Remembering Our Pets event. For those who do not know me, my name is Dr. Laura Purdy. I am a veterinarian and one of the practice owners here at Journey's Home. It goes without saying.
Hi everyone, my name is Linda Coletti and I run the Pet Loss Resource Center. I'm very delighted to be here with you today as you honor your special pet. Being able to say their name, share pictures and stories in a larger community validates the special love that you had with your pet. There is a saying that goes, that which is remembered never dies, and I really believe that's true. I had a pet, a beautiful red Cocker Spaniel who died probably 14 years ago now. And I use her name for my password. And her name is Kia Rose. And don't tell anyone that that's my password, okay? But she is, I love being able to type her name in every day and think about her, just even briefly. It just warms my heart. In our groups, we share a lot about how people remember the legacy of their pets, and I wanted to share those with you. One way is to write an obituary. People find that to be a very heartfelt way to kind of concisely put together a story about your pet's life, and you can pour out your own love and all that your relationship encompassed, and share it with family and friends. I think it's a really wonderful way to remember. Another thing people do is, and this may not be your cup of tea, but people will get memorial tattoos. They'll have hearts, they'll have paw prints, some even have full pictures of their pet tattooed on wherever you want. Or a saying, or their names. It's a great way to remember. Also, people will make shrines or altars or ofrendas, and this is as simple as finding a small space in your house, putting a picture, putting their collars, some toys, maybe a dish, whatever you want on this little table. And it's just a way of reminding yourself and remembering. And just as an aside, Pet Loss Resource Center is going to have an ofrenda making a day on October 26th at Piney Library on Cottage Grove Road. It's in the Mexican tradition of Los Dias de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. And it's kind of a celebratory thing to make this ofrenda or altar and share it with other people. So I'm inviting you all to come. One thing people do is find a day each year that they name after their pet. It's Rover's Day or Mitzi's Day or whatever, and take off from work and just intentionally plan the day in memory of your pet. It can be as simple as taking a walk along the paths that you used to love to walk with your dog. Or you could find a spot of sunshine and lay in it and take a nap, as your cat would have done. You may want to use the day to pay it forward. You may want to take food into shelters. You may want to pay somebody's adoption fee. You can be so very creative in what you want to do on that day. You may want to dog sit or cat sit or bird sit on that day. Whatever feels right for you, but just kind of earmark it as your pet's day. You can plant a tree or a memorial garden. It's a way to take all that nurturing we put into our pets into something living and outside, and it's a way to a place to go to when you want to feel closer to your pet. Tangible objects are often discussed. People will have pillows made in a replica of their pet so that they can hold it and cuddle it and stroke it. People often will sleep with a blanket of their pets. Something that makes you, by touching it, makes you feel closer. People get jewelry made with or without the ashes of the pet. Anything that is comforting to you is a great way to remember. I think most importantly, we need to reflect on how our pets changed us. What did they teach us about ourselves, and how we can be more like them. I look at my dog, who gets so excited when it's supper time, or when we're going to go for a walk. Just noticing the everyday moments of life, living in the moment and finding joy in the moment and loving people unconditionally. Those are all things that they've taught us, and we can take all those lessons and carry them into our lives, and that's part of our pet's legacy, right? Lastly, I just want to say, leave you with a poem that I think is really pertinent. It's by Donna Ashworth, and it says, "On those days when you miss your pet the most, as though your memories are sharp enough to slice through skin and bone, remember how they loved you. Remember how they loved you, and do that for yourself. In their name, in their honor, love yourself as they loved you. They would like that. On those days when you miss your beloved pet the most, love yourself harder." Thank you. Take good care.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this amazing, beautiful, touching presentation, for your submissions, for your contributions, and for your love. I hope that um, you are all able to be very gentle with yourselves today. And if you're in need of more support or resources, please don't hesitate to reach out to us now or in the future. And thank you again. Take care.